Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wonder Series sponsored by Living Healthy List. I'm Denise Steele. I am your host here of the Wonder Series, where we want you to look at your life from a different perspective, to really think outside the box and truly wonder what your life would be like if you looked at it differently, if you took someone else's thoughts and ideas and really opened yourself to the possibilities and the opportunities that come your way. So we have been talking about resiliency when it comes to your health. And most of the time people talk about health, they think, oh, my diet, I got to exercise more. But there's so much more to a healthy lifestyle than diet and exercise. And so I'm really excited that we're talking with my new friend, Sofia Adams, today. She's going to give us a lot of insight, probably things that you may have heard of, maybe things that you haven't really heard of. So a little bit about Sofia. She is a virtual naturopathic consultant. Her practice is called Vale of Health, and she specializes in optimizing lifestyle and homeopathic interventions to promote, I love this, vitality and to encourage others to live a more natural, inspired life, i.e., healthy, happy lifestyle. Yay! Sofia,
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Denise. I really appreciate you having me on here today.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to talk to you because, in the health and wellness world that I've been in for a long time, my focus has always been nutrition. And then, of course, sleep and all those other things that we kind of talk about. Yeah. But when it comes to some of these more natural solutions, I'm not the person to talk to. I always have questions, who do you turn to? What does this mean? What does what does a naturopath do? And, how did naturopathic doctors come about? So I guess I'll start with that question.
Yeah, absolutely. So naturopathic medicine is one of the forms of alternative care, right? But a lot of the modalities that we use have been in existence for thousands of years. So it is really nothing new. It's just revamped with research that's come about, and we've really been able to really help people to thrive naturally. So I think one of my biggest roles too is helping my clients recognize what underlying determinants of their health are out of balance and or need attention to, and then help provide those holistic recommendations, each one really with a goal of stimulating their own self-healing capabilities and mechanisms, which we all possess, we just really need to tap into. So there's a variety of things that naturopathic doctors in medical school learn. Like we learn minor surgery, like medical doctors, and we learn pharmaceuticals, but we also learn botanical medicine, homeopathy, hydrotherapy. Some go on to learn about acupuncture and midwifery. There's all these other add-ons that you can get. So, and then also, like we talked about too, diet and lifestyle changes, and how do we move to promote our body to really be optimally functioning. So yeah, there's such a variety. There's so many naturopathic doctors that specialize in maybe one thing, either one modality, or they specialize in one diagnosis. So yeah, there's really no end to the possibilities that you really have in the naturopathic field.
Wow. So I get the excitement from you when you talk about naturopathic medicine and all of the modalities that you just spoke about. You just were shining. So there's a story behind the story. So tell us, how did you find naturopathic medicine, and where does that fit in? Where did it fit in your life to begin with?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Long story super short. I mean, I could spend hours talking about all the ways that I've been impacted, but the first time that I ever really was introduced to this alternative way of thinking was when I was 14 years old. I was experiencing heartburn symptoms every single day, which is not typical for a 14-year-old to have to deal with. And so you do what, any parent would do in Southeast Iowa is you go to, your primary care or to the medical doctor, right? And so my mom took me there, and the doctor only spent about 7 minutes with me and diagnosed me with, heartburn symptoms and GERD. And just prescribed me a proton pump inhibitor, and I left. And not once did he ask me what was going on in my life. Not once did he ask me anything about diet, the stressors at home, nothing. And my mom was pretty deflated after that visit. Like, wow, no one even really asked any questions, just wanted to know diagnosis. And she goes, well, I've heard about this homeopath not too far away. Let's maybe check her out. And it completely changed my perspective on healing, going to that homeopath. She spent between 2 to 3 hours with me, which is a very long time. Not every homeopath does that. But she spent a really long time to understand my root causes, what was causing my issues. And she even spent time talking to my parents. And so she really got a feel for what was maybe going on in my home dynamic. And long story short, it was an emotional trigger that was actually causing my heartburn symptoms. And she provided some lifestyle recommendations as well as a homeopathic remedy. And it's been 15 some years now. And I can now say that I really have not had very much heartburn at all since then. I can count on less than 2 hands. So to be able to say that and just have a homeopathic remedy and change my lifestyle, that's a huge testimony. And that was kind of the first real event that happened in my life that really inspired me. And a few years later, when I was 19 years old, I had another life event happen, and I went back to the same homeopath. And I walked out of that session, I was like, I think I want to do this for my life. I think I want to inspire people and educate people on this other alternative that we don't really get here in Iowa. You know, there's not very many around. And so I, looked up, and long story short, found naturopathic medicine, which had even more of a variety, as well as the homeopathic courses. So here I am now, years later, graduated, and now opening my own virtual practice and able to educate others just really across the US.
I think it's amazing. I think so many people start a business or do something in their career because of something that happened to them. And, this is, what a positive result from, not a very positive experience, like you said, with the doctor. I do want to ask you, so we've talked about, you went to see a homeopathist. Did I say that right?
A homeopath.
Homeopath. So what are the differences between a homeopath and a naturopathic doctor?
Sure. So a naturopathic doctor goes to a 4-year medical program. They learn a variety of different modalities like homeopathy, hydrotherapy, minor surgery, pharmaceuticals, etc. Where a homeopath or a constitutional homeopath, their main modality is homeopathy. They actually go through this Materia Medica book, full everything, and they learn a majority of the homeopathic remedies very in depth, and they have their own exams that they have to go through as well. So that's kind of the difference. Yes, they can also teach lifestyle things. I think all of us can, provide that advice to people, but yeah, that's kind of the difference. Just naturopathic medicine has a designated, accredited 4-year medical program.
I see. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I think by saying that, to me, and I'm sure to a lot of people who go, oh, well, it's not, insurance doesn't pay, it's not medicine, but it is medicine because, in that traditional sense that you did go to a 4-year program, which is what most people expect nowadays. So I think it's real. I like that, that distinction. Not that one is better than the other, they're just different.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I provide maybe more botanical recommendations for one person than I would a homeopathic recommendation, right? So it's very case dependent. And I think there is beauty to both. I mean, there's some cases that maybe are really great homeopathic cases that I may refer out because they are just needing maybe someone who is more experienced and really has dedicated their whole entire education on homeopathy. So I definitely do and would refer out for some cases.
That makes sense. So let's talk about like your best client. Like, who is the person that you can, like, that you're looking to help? mean, obviously there are lots of people that you can help, but who is that person if we're talking, somebody's listening today, who's that person that you want to connect with?
Someone who maybe has tried everything and can't seem to really get a result, or they have this cyclical thing, like I'm really good for this amount of time and then I just get back to where I was before. Sometimes it needs to be, your vital force needs to be recharged. Homeopathy can do that. And also our lifestyle can really change that cyclical pattern. So someone like myself who has, specialized in recognizing what determinants are out of balance, we can then break that pattern. So I hate to say a specific diagnosis because I don't really treat based off of that. I treat people as a whole. And I may have 3 people come to me with the exact same problem, but have completely different reasons as to why they're experiencing it. And maybe different ages, right? And different stages of life. And so I never can really treat someone or give a care plan that's exactly the same. I don't think I've done that with anyone.
Which I think is really important because we're not all the same.
Right.
And you're right. Even with with a medical diagnosis, how often does somebody go to a regular doctor and they give them something or they diagnose this, but that doesn't cure the problem, and then they go back, and it's almost kind of trial and error. And I think more often than not, that's where people are frustrated with traditional medicine, because as you mentioned earlier, it's here's, let's just kind of like fix the problem, like whatever the symptom is, let's just get rid of the symptom without really delving into the problem. So give an example of something. I come to you with, it's funny that we're talking about this. I have a lemon in my water this morning, which I don't do very often. And I had a cup of tea earlier, or a pot of tea. And so my stomach right now is a little like, what are you doing to me here? So that doesn't happen often, but somebody comes to you with this kind of queasy, uncomfortable stomach that happens on a pretty regular basis. Let's just kind of, let's talk through, what are some of the things you might recommend to me?
Ooh. Well, number one, I'd have to know, I'd ask way more questions than this. Like, what are your symptoms? How do your symptoms make you feel? Where do you feel them exactly in your body? What other symptoms are you having with the stomach pain? Are you also having headaches? Are you also having brain fog? Are you having any numbness or tingling anywhere? I mean, I would have to ask so many more questions that would make you very unique. I think with a lot of digestive complaints, you have to talk about diet. You have to talk about hydration. You have to talk about environmental and social aspects, because there is this gut-brain connection. You have to kind of recognize too, have there been any mental and emotional stressors in your life as well as even previous illnesses. I think COVID-19 is a great one recently. A lot of people are getting post-COVID symptoms and having a lot of brain fog, and those illnesses actually really affect the gut microbiome. So that can also be contributing, and that would be something we'd have to really dive into and talk more about. But I think with a lot of gut complaints, diet and hydration plays a very huge part. Botanical tinctures or botanical bitters and products that you maybe can take before eating can also help just aid digestion. And then also restoring the gut microbiome. Sometimes that's indicated for people. And also individualized homeopathic remedy, finding those specific unique characteristics that you are having, and then find that remedy that matches you best, and you can have some pretty incredible results pretty quick.
What you just said was amazing, Sofia, because you asked more questions in those last few minutes than I think my doctor has ever asked me in 50 years, truly. That to me, that personal attention, and every now and then you hear, personalized medicine, and it's kind of like a new phase, but it isn't,
right? Because
you just explained to us that each person that comes to you, you may ask the same questions, but they're going to have different answers. And so that thus the care plan is different. So now you mentioned tinctures and botanicals and bitters. Explain those to us, please.
Yeah, so botanical tinctures are extractions from plants, flowers that they use like an alcoholic base or a glycerin base, and they extract out certain constituents that are medicinal out of the plant. And it's kind of a lengthy process. There's some really good botanical medicine companies out there, like Wise Woman Herbals, as well as Heron Botanicals. Those are two that I really recommend that are really good sourced and from here in America, or they get those plants that are from really good farms around the world. So it's a really trusted company, or very trusted companies. But anyway, so tinctures, what they do is they extract the medicinal properties from the botanicals, and then you're able to then ingest them. And every single client will kind of have a different routine. Some would take them, a dropper 3 times a day, others 1 time a day, kind of depends on what their needs are. If you have a stress relieving tincture, maybe you would take that 5 times a day if you're really stressed, right? Or 3 times a day, or even once, just for maintenance, right? So it's pretty much just comes in a little tincture bottle. I have some actually in my kitchen over here. I actually made some from my garden this past couple weeks. So I'm making my own. One of them is a digestive tincture with fennel, mint, Cuban oregano, and thyme. And another one is an immune boosting tincture with rosemary, thyme, and sage. So there's all these things come from nature, these tinctures, and this is something that our ancestors have done for many, many years. And it's never in replacement of something else. It's always in addition to what you're already doing. So, and you always have to be careful too. Some people are on pharmaceuticals that, would kind of react with a botanical. So that's someone like myself who is educated in recognizing those. I can kind of help distinguish people. Well, stay away from X, Y, and Z that may counteract with your medication, or I just simply don't recommend any botanical at all if they're on so many, and homeopathy is one of the more safer types of modalities because there are no side effects and because it's on a microdose level. So all populations can use it. And so it's really safe and effective.
It's really amazing when we think, these are things that have been around for thousands of years, yet in Western societies, they're still new. They're still, what's the word? Kind of nouveau and kind of,
Yeah.
and
new trends and
yeah, they're trendy. That's a good point. They're trendy. And maybe that's a good thing. They're trendy because one, if they work, right, that's a good trend. But I think what's important is becoming a trend and is really about awareness and education. So I'm sure there are, like you said, there's a couple of different companies out there. So is this something that you recommend to people? Oh yeah, sure, just go online and find whatever works for you? Or is that something that people should really talk to a naturopath first before they go out on their own?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that a lot of people can sometimes waste their money by doing just that, by going and just trying something out without speaking to someone who truly has specialized in that. Speaking with an herbalist, speaking with a naturopathic doctor who really enjoys working with the botanical medicine side. It's not just tinctures that you can take botanically, it's also supplemental as well. There's some supplements that I give for women who are in a botanical capsule form. So there's different types and ways to ingest the botanicals. And so speaking to someone who is educated can kind of help navigate where to kind of go, what is maybe more beneficial. Like a lot of, I know Herb Farm is another great company. They have, fungus relief, or they have, sleep aid types of titles. And so people are like, oh, well, my sleep isn't right, I'm going to take that. But people don't know exactly, well, is that really everything that I need for my body? Or am I wasting money? And maybe I should invest it in someone who is specialized like myself, or an herbalist who can then kind of distinguish what's kind of best and personalized to you.
Mm-hmm. So when you were saying that, what I was thinking was, sometimes people don't really have a medical problem, or there's not like a major thing that that, that they're complaining about. But maybe it is something like you're saying, they're not sleeping so well. So what I'm thinking here is, everyone has something going on.
Yeah.
And speaking with a naturopathic doctor makes a lot of sense when you're looking to, we're going to get back to this resilient health piece.
Yeah.
If people are starting on their journey, and some people, you kind of start the journey, stop and, kind of with diets, don't diet people, diets don't work, but people kind of start and stop along their health journey. Mm-hmm. What would you recommend for somebody who's going, okay, I'm 50 years old and I need to do something different? Mm-hmm. What would you say, start here?
Ooh, it's also very case dependent. It's recognized, if they don't visit someone like myself, right, who assesses what determinants are maybe out of whack, or really out of balance, I think you can always start with movement. I think getting outside, really experiencing the sun, fresh air, that plays a huge role just in overall health. Our sun helps to regulate our hormones. I'm kind of in, I'm in Southeast Iowa, so I have pretty good quality air compared to some places and people that live in cities. So I know not all air quality is right, but there is a lot of pollution too. But movement is key. I think that's one of the things that helps with longevity as well. Once you stop moving, I think you really stop living. And I think those are two of the most biggest determinants: light, movement. So it's a great place, I think, to start. And I think just even moving is going to help improve sleep. Movement is going to help digestion. It's going to help your lymphatic flow. It's going to help your cardiovascular system. I mean, there's so many benefits. Immune system too, right? They all play off of each other. So I think those are great two places to start, I guess.
I love that. And truly, these are things that anybody and everybody can do. From the couch potato to, the working mom, every one of us can find the time. And that's one of the things I talk about a lot is, when it comes to managing your time is, to me, that's a big part of living a healthy lifestyle, being resilient is, managing your time and putting on your calendar, I'm going to exercise this time. And because to me, if it's there, and I work out pretty much every day. I do something every day. It just, for me, it's obviously physical, but for me, it's mental health.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, not everyone has to go out and ride a bike for 15 miles. Movement can be just dancing around in your living room. It could be gardening. It could be doing chores. There's, you don't have to do heavy cardio. And I think a lot of people are intimidated. They think, oh, well, to be healthy, I'm going to go get a gym membership. You can do so many things for free when it comes to movement. Mm-hmm. And there's sometimes too, I'll just be sitting here working. I'll get done with the client and I'm like, I'm just going to walk around the house twice. And it's just amazing how much better I feel, mm-hmm. And that was completely free. I didn't have to drive anywhere or do anything like that. So it's pretty cheap sometimes to actually live a very, to incorporate these just quick lifestyle changes.
It's funny that you said that. A bunch of years ago, my mom and my sister moved into a house together. And while they were doing the kitchen in my mom's apartment, she had to go up and down the stairs if she wanted tea, if she needed to get anything out of the kitchen. And I remember her saying, I've lost 5 pounds in just a couple of weeks just by walking up and down the stairs. Yeah. And again, it was something that she kind of had to do because she wanted a cup of tea, but it wasn't. And here's that word that everybody does not like: exercise.
Right.
And you use the same word that I do. I use the word movement. We want to be moving.
Yes.
And you just told us all of the amazing things that movement can do. Your GI, your sleep, lymphatic system, all of those things that we probably don't even consider when we go for a walk, or if we're, like you're walking around your house.
Exactly.
I have to say, you said gardening and chores. To me, gardening is chores.
There is, oh gosh, I could probably talk an entire podcast over all the benefits that gardening can do to your psyche, to your health. I mean, there's even studies that say just getting your hands in the dirt and the soil can change your microbiome. I mean, that is just fascinating. Yes. So,
okay, that's news to me.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before, Sophia. So
yeah.
Okay.
It can influence your biome in your body and your flora. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about the microbiome for those people who've heard the word, but they think they know what it is, but maybe not clear. So please explain microbiome to us a little bit better.
Yeah, so your gut has bacteria in it. You were born with this healthy bacteria to be able to combat inflammation in the body, to be able to get rid of things in the body that aren't necessary. It's really kind of one of your first line defenses beside your own skin. But what's amazing is your skin also has a flora as well. So you are protected on the outside, on your skin, but then also your gut as well. Now, when we have stressors in our life, sometimes that can create an imbalance in the good bacteria. You can have an infection that will then cause even, worse bacteria to come into your body, or you get prescribed antibiotics that will then kind of not only get rid of the bad bacteria, but also the good bacteria as well. So having, there's so much research behind good microbiome, flora of the gut, and brain health, as well as even metabolic syndrome, and skin disorders. I mean, there's just so much research. I could go on and on, but having a good, healthy microbiome can really help so many aspects of our life, our sleep, our digestion, our immune system, our skin health. I could go on, but I hope that gives a little short synopsis of that.
No, it's great, because I think it is important, because, in a lot of circles, it's kind of it's a buzzword, but it's not. I mean, it really is, when we, as we're talking about this, it really is kind of like the basis of our health.
It's a huge part, for sure.
A huge part. So if somebody, I have a friend who takes antibiotics, has a lot of recurring sinus infections. So he's on antibiotics a lot. What is something that you could recommend for him, or somebody like him who has had, certain bouts of, or rounds of antibiotics, and are listening now going, maybe I should do something to combat that? What might be a good thing for those people to look into?
Yeah, absolutely. I do have to be careful here, because I am not their doctor, right? So I'm just putting that out there right now. I'm not providing any specific recommendations to your friend. But I do want to say too, you can incorporate, and speak to your doctor about this too. You can incorporate a probiotic in conjunction with an antibiotic to try to keep that microbiome healthy. So I know that a lot of doctors out there recommend, anywhere from 3 to 6 hours after taking your antibiotic, you can take a probiotic as well. Also, depending on, I know you said like reoccurring infection. So, there are other botanical products out there that can help fight infections as well. So incorporating those together can be a great conjunction. And also homeopathy. It's great depending on a specific case. Let's just say it was ear infections. Ear infections can also be helped with an individualized homeopathic remedy. Strep throat is a great example. Sinus infections, great example. Are they having thick yellow discharge, or are they having severe runny, really bland discharge? Those are 2 different indications for 2 different remedies. Are they having sinus pain right here or right here? Are they having headaches? Or are they having digestive pain with it? All these specific keynotes can really help with an individualized remedy, instead of just giving a broad botanical option, right?
Sure. I think it's amazing, because there are so many times when we as a society go, oh, I have a headache, I should go take some Tylenol. And I will tell you, I suffer from headaches. I'm allergic to everything that grows in Minnesota. I don't know why, but I just am. And so my allergy season never ends. And so there have been times where, I take Excedrin, or I have taken in the past a lot of Excedrin. But I've been very fortunate to, in my health and wellness experience, to meet people like you who say, maybe try something else first. And that's been really incredibly helpful for me because, again, there are times when, yes, the headache gets so bad, I need to take the Tylenol or the Excedrin. But most of the time, whether it's using an essential oil or a botanical, or one of the things that I have here, I'm still learning. I know my little bits and pieces that work for me. And so that's why I'm so thrilled to have you, one, on the podcast, but also as a new expert at Living Healthy List, because your experience and your knowledge is something that we all need to hear.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot.
Well, we appreciate that, that you have taken, your life and your career, and this is what you're doing. You're educating. First and foremost, your job is to educate people, obviously, to help them feel better and live better. And I think truly that, all of us are looking for a healthy, happy lifestyle, no matter what our situations are, how old we are, what our health and wellness is, whether we have an autoimmune disease or whatever it may be, we're all looking for that healthy, happy lifestyle. And I believe with what you have to offer people is you give them another alternative. You give them an opportunity to find that healthy lifestyle that works for them.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. That's my goal. I think, as a doctor, I don't want people to keep having to come to me. I want to give them tools to be able to thrive in life. If I see them again, great. I want to hear how you're doing, but I really want them to walk away with more knowledge about their own body and their own function, and be able to, like you said, live a happy life and be able to enjoy it and not be suppressed. I think so much of our society suppresses us, and also sometimes our medications can suppress us, and we should be vital.
Yes. Well, I was going to ask for one more thing, but I just love how you just finished that. So what I will ask instead is, how can our audience, how can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a website. It's valeofhealth.com. There you can read a little bit more about my story. I kind of shared it today, but share a little bit more about my education and what I'm inspired by. You can also check out the naturopathic page that I have on my website too, to really understand more about the philosophy, as well as all the determinants or an outline of what really defines our health. And then you can contact me on the contact form there, or give me a call. You can find me on Facebook as well, at Vale of Health, and my Instagram page as well. So there you can reach out to me those 3 ways, and I offer virtual services. So I'm able to really help anyone, anywhere. I'm able to do it through Zoom, just like this, or even over the phone. Some people prefer that. And then for people here in like Southeast Iowa, I will offer at-home visits as well if they prefer. But otherwise, it's great to meet people from all over, and being able to do Zoom has been incredible. I think that's one of the blessings of having COVID, is we've really opened up this realm to be able to reach so many more people, and I want more people to know about this medicine. So, and I'm grateful to you for this experience to just kind of share more about naturopathic medicine as well on your podcast. So.
Absolutely. And I know this will be the first of many conversations we'll have, both on the podcast and through other things that we do at Living Healthy List, which, by the way, you can also find Sofia there on livinghealthylist.com. Type in her name, and she's Sofia, Sofia, and you can read a little bit more about her there as well as to find some of her new blog posts. So again, Sofia, thank you for this great introduction, this great information, and I do look forward to our next conversation.
Me too.
For all of us, all of you who are listening, thank you for listening to the Wonder Series that is sponsored by Living Healthy List. And our goal here at the podcast is really to help you start wondering, so you can start living that healthy, happy life that you have been dreaming of. So till next time, I leave you with this: healthy living, happy life, everyone. We'll see you next time at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time each Wednesday. We'll see you then. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.